Welcome back everyone to another exciting deep dive into the world of rare and valuable coins, where tiny details and fascinating minting mistakes can turn what most people think of as ordinary pocket change into treasures worth millions. And today we are focusing on the extraordinary story of the 1992 1-cent coin that has stunned collectors and investors alike because of its rarity, unique errors, and mysterious origins. A coin that has been valued at a jaw-dropping $15 million. And when you hear the full story behind how such a small copper-plated zinc cent could reach such astronomical heights, you will understand why coin enthusiasts across the globe are hunting through their collections, checking their change, and dreaming about discovering one of these elusive coins that could change their lives forever. Because the 1992 1-cent is not just a simple coin but rather a perfect example of how human error, technological processes, design transitions, and sheer chance combine to create numismatic wonders. And to appreciate its incredible value, we need to explore the fascinating details about what went wrong during its production, what unique features distinguish it from the billions of other Lincoln cents struck in the same year, how collectors spotted these differences, and why rarity combined with demand has created one of the most talked about modern coins in history. So let us start by understanding the background of the Lincoln cent in 1992, a period when the United States Mint was experimenting with minor design modifications that would become standard in later years, one of the most important changes being the transition from the old wide AM spacing in the word America on the reverse of the coin to the new close AM design that was intended for later issues. And in 1992 a few test coins with the close AM design were accidentally released into circulation, making them one of the most famous modern varieties ever discovered. And while that alone would be enough to elevate the coin into the realm of rarity, the story becomes even more exciting when we consider the additional minting errors that sometimes appear on these coins, ranging from die cracks and misalignments to double strikes and planchet imperfections, each of which can dramatically increase the desirability and value of a given specimen. So when you think about the 1992 1-cent valued at $15 million, you are not just looking at a simple cent with one error but rather at a near-perfect storm of conditions that make it incredibly unique. A coin that combines the transitional design rarity of the 1992 close AM with other striking mistakes that set it apart from any other cent ever discovered. And collectors know that when you have such a once-in-a-lifetime combination of rarity, condition, and historical significance, the price can skyrocket to unimaginable levels, which is exactly what has happened with this legendary coin, because unlike common cents that number in the billions, the 1992 close AM is estimated to exist in only a handful of examples, and among those, only one or two exhibit the exceptional errors and pristine condition that make them worth millions. And when such coins appear in auctions, they generate headlines around the world, sparking bidding wars among elite collectors who recognize the opportunity to own not just a coin but a piece of history. And the beauty of the story is that this coin, like many others, could have easily been overlooked, spent in a store, or sitting unnoticed in someone's jar of change for decades, until a sharp-eyed collector recognized the tiny but critical differences that transformed it from a single cent into a $15 million fortune. And that is the magic of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, because it shows us how the smallest details matter and how history can hide in plain sight, waiting for discovery. And when we go deeper into the errors and mistakes that can appear on a 1992 cent, we find endless possibilities. For example, a double die obverse where Lincoln's profile appears slightly duplicated due to a misalignment during the hubbing process, or a broad strike error where the collar that normally restrains the coin during striking fails and the coin spreads outwards, creating a wider than usual appearance, or perhaps a clipped planchet error where a portion of the coin is missing because the blank was cut incorrectly before striking. And each of these types of errors carries its own premium among collectors, but when combined with the 1992 close AM rarity, they become truly priceless. And this is why stories of people finding such coins in circulation captivate the imagination. because it suggests that life-changing value can be hiding in the most ordinary places. And when you imagine holding a 1992 1 cent with such extraordinary qualities, you realize it is not just about the monetary value but also about owning a tangible piece of American history, a testament to the complexity of coin production and the inevitability of human error even in highly controlled environments. And beyond the errors themselves lies the question of condition, because coin grading plays a huge role in determining value, and a 1992 close AM cent in poor condition might sell for a few $1,000s, while one in mint state condition with sharp details and nowhere could be worth hundreds of thousands. And then you have the absolute pinnacle, a coin with perfect condition, dramatic error features, and undeniable authenticity, the kind of coin that achieves the $15 million price tag and enters the realm of legends. And collectors know that such coins are essentially irreplaceable, which is why their value continues to climb as demand grows and availability remains near zero. And it is fascinating to think about how such coins survive, because most rare varieties and errors are either caught during production, destroyed, or simply worn down in circulation until their distinguishing features are lost. But in rare cases a few manage to slip through the cracks, escape detection, and land in the hands of the public, where they might circulate unnoticed for years, passing from hand to hand in everyday transactions until finally someone pays close attention and recognizes their incredible value. And that possibility is what keeps so many collectors excited, checking their coins, sharing discoveries online, and hoping to be the next person who finds a $15 million penny in their pocket. And the 1992 1 cent story continues to inspire not only seasoned numismatists but also beginners, because it proves that you do not need to be wealthy to find rare coins. You just need curiosity, attention to detail, and a little luck. And when we think about the mistakes and errors that make such coins valuable, we realize that they are not just flaws but rather windows into the minting process, each one telling a story about the machines, the dies, the workers, and the moment in history when the coin was struck. So a double strike reveals that the coin was accidentally fed through the press twice. A die clash shows that the dies collided without a planchette in place, leaving ghostly images on the coin. A misaligned die shows that precision was not perfect in every instance. And all of these details are cherished by collectors who see them as unique fingerprints that make their coin one of a kind. And when you add in the historical context of the early 1990s, when the mint was transitioning designs and making subtle adjustments that would shape the Lincoln cent for years to come, the 1992 close AM becomes even more meaningful, because it captures a moment of change, a transition frozen in metal. And owning one is like holding a snapshot of history in the palm of your hand. And this is why people are willing to pay millions for such coins, because they are not only rare but also meaningful, symbolic, and irreplaceable. And as we continue to explore the endless possibilities of errors and mistakes that could exist on the 1992 cent, we realize that each discovery has the potential to write a new chapter in the story of this remarkable coin. And this is what makes the hobby of coin collecting so endlessly fascinating, because there is always the chance that the next coin you examine could be the one that changes everything, the 1 cent worth $15 million, the hidden treasure waiting to be recognized, the reminder that in a world where billions of coins are struck, sometimes the tiniest details can make all the difference. And that is the incredible story of the 1992 1 cent. A coin whose errors and mistakes transformed it from ordinary to extraordinary, from pocket change to priceless masterpiece, and whose legend will continue to inspire collectors and dreamers for generations to come. Next, 1999 1 cent USA coin, where tiny details and unexpected minting mistakes can turn the most ordinary pocket change into life-changing treasures worth millions. And today, we are diving deep into the legendary story of the 1999 1 cent coin that has captured the imagination of collectors around the world because of its jaw-dropping value of $8 million, driven by the remarkable combination of errors, mistakes, and unique features that make it one of the most desirable and sought-after coins in modern numismatic history, and as we peel back the layers of its story, you will discover why this small copper-plated zinc cent from 1999 stands out from the billions of other Lincoln cents struck that year, and how a rare set of circumstances during its creation catapulted it into the realm of multi-million-dollar collectibles. Because when it comes to coins, value is not only about age but about rarity, condition, demand, and most importantly, the presence of minting mistakes that create varieties so unique they become priceless. And the 1999 cent is a perfect example of this phenomenon, and to understand why the 1999 cent has been valued at $8 million, we first need to revisit the minting landscape of the late 1990s, when the United States Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents every year using advanced but not flawless technology, and while precision was improving, it was still impossible to avoid occasional errors, and those errors, when combined with transitional design features or experimental variations, produced coins that would later be recognized as rarities of immense importance. And in 1999, the most famous variety to emerge was the wide AM reverse, where the spacing between the A and M in America was much wider than usual, a feature that was supposed to appear only on proof coins but accidentally made its way onto a small number of circulation strikes, and this mistake immediately turned those circulation strike wide AM coins into treasures, because they were never intended to exist in the first place, and their rarity meant that collectors scrambled to obtain them, paying huge premiums and driving demand through the roof. And when we talk about an $8,001,999 cent, we are not just talking about any wide AM coin, but a coin that combines this famous variety with additional striking errors and exceptional condition to create a once-in-a-lifetime rarity that stands alone in the world of modern numismatics. And imagine holding a coin that was supposed to be a simple penny yet contains subtle design differences invisible to the untrained eye, coupled with minting mistakes like double dies, die cracks, planchette flaws, or off-center strikes. And when all of these elements converge in a single coin, the result is something so extraordinary that its value becomes almost limitless. And that is what we see in the legendary $8,001,999 cent, because it is not only a wide AM variety but also displays additional mistakes that magnify its uniqueness and push it far beyond the value of ordinary era coins. And the beauty of such coins lies in the fact that they could be anywhere right now, sitting in an old jar of change, hidden in a forgotten drawer, or tucked away in someone's childhood coin collection waiting to be rediscovered. And that possibility makes the story of the 1999 cent so compelling, because it shows us that treasures are still out there waiting to be found, and that even something as common as a penny can be worth a fortune if it carries the right combination of rarity and mistakes. And when we think about the errors that could appear on a 1999 cent, the possibilities are endless, from double die obverses where Lincoln's portrait or the inscriptions appear slightly doubled, to broad strikes where the coin expands beyond its normal boundaries because the collar failed to hold it properly, to clipped planchets where part of the metal blank was missing before striking, to die clashes where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchette in place, leaving ghostly impressions on the coin. And each of these errors by themselves adds significant value, but when combined with the famous wide AM design change, they become nearly priceless. And this is why one particular specimen of the 1999 cent with this perfect storm of characteristics was able to command a staggering $8 million valuation, because it represents a unique moment in minting history, a tangible error frozen in metal that cannot be replicated. And collectors understand that such coins are not just monetary investments but also symbols of history, chance, and human imperfection. And when we go deeper into the significance of the wide AM design error, we realize how subtle yet important it is, because the majority of 1999 cents feature the close AM reverse, where the letters A and M are almost touching as intended for circulation issues, but in rare cases proof dies were mistakenly used on regular coins, creating the wider gap between the letters. And this tiny difference makes the coin instantly recognizable to experts and highly desirable to collectors, because it represents a mistake at the design level, not just a simple striking flaw. And such mistakes are far rarer than most mechanical errors, which is why they are prized so highly. And when combined with other types of striking mistakes such as double strikes or off-center impressions, the result is a coin unlike any other. And this is what gives the $8 million $1,999 sent its legendary status, and as with all valuable coins, condition plays a crucial role because a coin found in heavily circulated condition might still be worth thousands, but a coin preserved in mint state with sharp details, original luster, and no visible wear becomes exponentially more valuable, and the known examples of the 1999 wide AM cent that survive in pristine condition already command huge sums at auction, but the one unique coin that reached the $8 million mark did so because it combined rarity, era condition, and historical importance in a way that no other cent has matched, and when such a coin appears on the market, it sparks intense competition among top collectors and institutions, each eager to own a piece of history and secure a legacy item that can never be replaced. And the story of the 1999 cent is more than just numbers and dollars. It is a story about the mystery of the minting process and the inevitability of human error, no matter how advanced our technology becomes. It reminds us that perfection is an illusion, and that sometimes mistakes create the most beautiful and valuable outcomes. And for collectors, the thrill lies in the hunt, the careful examination of coins under magnification, the joy of spotting that tiny gap between the A and M, or that slight doubling of a design element, and realizing that what they hold in their hand is not just a penny but a fortune. And this is why the legend of the $8,001,999 cent continues to inspire people around the world, encouraging them to check their change, search through coin rolls, and pay attention to the smallest details, because the next discovery could belong to anyone. And when you think about the billions of cents produced in 1999, it seems almost impossible that a handful of them could be worth millions. Yet that is exactly the paradox that makes numismatics so exciting, because rarity emerges not from the masses but from the exceptions, from the few coins that slipped through the cracks, carrying with them the fingerprints of history and imperfection. And when we think of the possibilities, we can imagine coins with rotated dies where the obverse and reverse designs are misaligned by dramatic angles, or multiple strikes where the coin shows 2 or 3 impressions overlapping each other, or partial collars where the rim of the coin is distorted, or even wrong planchette errors where a cent design is struck on a dime or foreign coin blank, creating an instantly recognizable rarity. And all of these possibilities exist within the world of the 1999 cent, and when one of them intersects with the wide AM design variety, the value becomes unimaginable, which is why the famous specimen sold for $8 million and continues to be talked about as one of the greatest modern rarities ever discovered. And this story shows us that coins are more than just currency, they are historical artifacts, miniature works of art, and sometimes accidental miracles. And to hold such a coin is to hold a piece of history in the palm of your hand, a reminder that even the smallest things can hold the greatest value. And that is the story of the 1999 1 cent worth $8 million, a story of errors, mistakes, and possibilities that transformed an ordinary penny into a priceless treasure, and a story that will continue to inspire collectors and dreamers for generations to come. Last 1975 D1 cent USA coin. Today we are diving deep into the incredible story of the 1975 D1 cent coin, a coin that has captured the imagination of collectors and historians alike because of the unique errors, mistakes, and mysteries that make it one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever known, with an astonishing valuation of $12 million. And what makes this story even more exciting is the fact that billions of pennies were struck in 1975 at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, yet only a tiny handful of them contain the kinds of mistakes that elevate their value beyond imagination. And in the case of the Denver Mint in 1975, a particular set of production anomalies combined to create a coin that is now considered priceless by many. And the story of this $12 million coin is a perfect example of how chance, human error, machine malfunction, and historical context all work together to create legendary rarities that collectors dream about owning. So let us begin by setting the stage for the mid-1970s, when the United States Mint was operating under tremendous pressure to produce billions of coins to keep up with the nation's needs. And the Lincoln cent, which had been in circulation since 1909, was struck in enormous numbers using copper planchets weighing 3.11 grams with the familiar wheat design already long replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse introduced in 1959. And the Denver Mint was one of the busiest facilities, striking hundreds of millions of cents in 1975 alone. And under such conditions of high-speed production, it was inevitable that some errors and mistakes would slip through the cracks, and while most errors are minor and common, such as small die cracks or light strikes every once in a while, something extraordinary happens, a unique combination of errors so rare that the coin becomes unlike any other, and the 1975 D-cent valued at $12 million is the prime example of this phenomenon, and what makes it so valuable is not only the year and mint mark but also the exceptional errors it carries, which range from dramatic double dies to misstruck planches to transitional design elements that were never supposed to leave the mint. And when you think about how such a coin could exist, it becomes clear that the minting process, though precise, is never perfect, and in 1975 it was especially prone to problems because the dies used for striking were subject to heavy wear from the massive production demands, and replacement dies sometimes carried minor imperfections that went unnoticed until it was too late. And one of the most exciting possibilities is that a small number of 1975 D-cents were struck with double die obverses, meaning Lincoln's portrait along with inscriptions such as Liberty and Iron God We Trust appear with noticeable doubling visible to the naked eye or under magnification, and double die coins are some of the most popular varieties among collectors because they clearly demonstrate a striking mistake during the hubbing process, where the die receives multiple misaligned impressions of the design, and such coins can fetch huge prices even without additional errors. So imagine the impact when a double die obverse is combined with other mistakes like a misaligned die that causes the design to appear slightly off-center, or a broad strike where the coin was struck without the restraining collar and spread wider than normal, or a clipped planchet where part of the coin is literally missing because the blank was improperly cut. And each of these errors on their own would make the coin valuable, but when you have them together on a single 1975 D-cent, you create a one-of-a-kind rarity that cannot be duplicated, and that is why this coin has achieved the staggering valuation of $12 million. And the story does not stop there, because another layer of mystery comes from the possibility that during 1975 the mint may have experimented with minor design modifications in preparation for later years, and in extremely rare cases test dies or transitional features might have been accidentally used on circulation coins. And if even one 1975 D-cent bears such transitional traits such as slight differences in lettering spacing in the word America or subtle variations in Lincoln's portrait, then that coin would instantly become one of the most valuable modern cents ever produced, and collectors believe that this is exactly what happened with the legendary $12 million 1975 D-cent, which not only shows striking errors but also contains a design element that should not exist on a coin from that year, making it unique in all of numismatic history. And when you add in the importance of condition, because coin grading plays a huge role in determining value, the picture becomes even clearer, since most 1975 D-cents circulated heavily and show wear, scratches and damage from decades of use, but the unique error coins that survive in pristine mint state condition with full details, strong luster and minimal marks are the ones that command astronomical prices. And when a coin combines rarity, error, transitional features and flawless condition, the price can reach the heavens, which is why this particular cent is now known as the $12 million penny. And it is fascinating to imagine how this coin could have survived undetected for so long, because most likely it passed from hand to hand in ordinary transactions during the 1970s and 1980s, perhaps tossed into a jar or saved unknowingly in a small collection, until one day someone finally noticed the unusual details and realized what they had. And that moment of discovery is what makes coin collecting so thrilling, because it proves that treasures can still be hiding in the most ordinary places, waiting for someone with a keen eye and a bit of luck to uncover them. And when we think about the types of errors that can appear on a 1975 D-cent, the list is endless. Rotated dies where the obverse and reverse are misaligned by 90 or even 180 degrees. Off-center strikes where only part of the design is visible. Multiple strikes where the coin has been struck 2 or 3 times, creating overlapping images. Die clashes where elements of the reverse appear faintly on the obverse and vice versa. And even wrong planchet errors where the cent design is accidentally struck on a dime planchet or foreign coin blank. And any of these possibilities could exist in a 1975 D-cent, and when combined with the unique double die or transitional features we mentioned earlier, they create a coin that is quite literally priceless. And that is why the 1975 D-cent has become one of the most talked about coins in the hobby because it represents the perfect storm of rarity-era history and condition all in one tiny piece of metal, and the fact that it was struck at the Denver Mint adds another layer of interest because Denver was known for high-volume production, and while Philadelphia struck experimental pieces, more often Denver coins with dramatic errors are particularly scarce, making them even more desirable to collectors. And when you think about it, the $12 million value is not just about owning a piece of metal, but about owning a piece of history, a tangible artifact that represents the complexity of the minting process, the inevitability of human error, and the incredible potential of discovery. And for collectors, this coin is the ultimate prize, a dream come true, and for the rest of us, it is a reminder that even something as small and ordinary as a penny can hold secrets worth millions if you only take the time to look closely. And when you consider the billions of 1975 D-cents that were produced, it seems almost impossible that one could be worth 12 million. But that is the beauty of numismatics, because it is never about the majority, it is always about the exceptions, the tiny handful of coins that defy expectations and capture the imagination. And that is what keeps collectors searching roll after roll, jar after jar, drawer after drawer, in hopes of finding that one coin that changes everything. And perhaps the most exciting part of this story is that there could still be undiscovered 1975 D-cents with similar errors waiting to be found, and the thought that you could be the person to find one is what makes this hobby so addictive and inspiring. And so the story of the 1975 D-cent is not just about money, it is about history, mystery, discovery, and the thrill of the hunt. And whether you are a seasoned collector or just someone curious about the value of your spare change, this coin reminds us that the smallest details matter, and that sometimes the tiniest objects hold the greatest treasures. And that is the legendary tale of the 1975 D-1-cent coin worth $12 million because of its errors and mistakes, a story that will continue to inspire collectors, dreamers, and treasure hunters for generations to come.